Let's get started. Okay, hi everyone, welcome and thank you for joining. So this is our first webinar of the year and is exclusive to our Talent Engage members. So today we'll be exploring the key trends for 2025 and how to navigate today's market within technology. Please submit any questions that you have during the presentation in the chat. We have representatives from each talent branch who will be monitoring the chat and will answer your questions in real time. Just make sure that when you're putting your questions in, you include your location so that the relevant branch representative can respond to you. And if we don't get around to answering any of your questions, there'll be some time for Q&A at the end. Lastly, for anyone who needs to step away, a recording will be sent to you over email and will also be available in the Engage portal. Now for some introductions. I'm Scarlett. I worked at Talent for nearly 7 years now. I actually started at Talent as an intern straight out of uni, and now I'm one of the account directors in the Sydney office. Me and my team support several of Talent's key clients in New South Wales and cover technology, transformation, and corporate services.
Hi, I'm JP. I've been recruiting in the technology and transformation sector in Auckland for about the last 15 years. I've been with Talent for a couple of years. I work across financial sector, mainly up here in Auckland.
And hi everyone, thanks for your time today. I'm Joe. I've been with Talent for almost 8 years. And a fun fact is I actually used to be a contractor for Talent before embarking on my recruitment career. So I'm really excited for what we're going to be chatting about today. Day to day and alongside my incredible team here in Melbourne, largely serve the professional community here within the sectors.
Awesome. So stick around until the end of the call and you'll be entered in to win a one-on-one mentoring session with one of our senior practice leads. So this 1 hour session will include a CV review, interview preparation, and tailored insights to help you advance your career. Late last year, our contractor care team reached out to you to hear your insights, and on the screen, these are some of the questions that you raised. We wanted to ensure that today was truly valuable to you, so we've designed this session to provide you with answers and guidance to some of these key questions.
Thanks, Scarlett. And we've got some market insights for the year to come here in 2025. And we really project the tech market for both the salary and contract rate perspective to be stable. There are a significant amount of permanent employees that are actually switching to contract work, with 2/3 of those actively seeking such positions. We really notice cyber, data, cloud architecture and Microsoft systems to really command top salaries, and AI and cloud architecture to be the most in-demand skills for the year. Similar to last year, remote work remains really highly preferred, with one half favouring fully remote or hybrid arrangements. And what we've also noticed is that the leading industries that are hiring for tech talent are actually of no surprise. From a healthcare perspective, the use of big data for patient data and integrating medical records and the actual changing of patient models will really drive growth into 2025 for the healthcare industry. And this is also alongside a really stable financial services and technology services industry. So salary changes, and let's delve into the salary and contract rate changes in the last 12 months. And as you can see here, the overall picture is one of salary and rate stabilisation. It is reflecting a market that currently favours employers. And you can just see here, most categories only saw increases just a few percent, with the exception of sales and account services. It's quite a significant 15%.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry to interrupt you, Joe. Some people are just writing and saying they're struggling with the sound a little bit. If you just want to lean forward a little bit and speak into the mic.
Is everybody able to hear me now?
Yeah, I think that's better. Everyone, is that better? Just keep going and I'll let you know. But that seems better.
Yeah, fantastic.
Sorry.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, everyone's saying yes.
Excellent. So I was just talking about sales and account services and the 15% rise, which is quite large. And this is due to our rapidly growing retail sector here in Australia, and also the growth of the emerging markets such as AI and cloud computing. And what I think this data is actually telling us is that it's actually a really good time to think strategically about your career and perhaps look at opportunities to upskill. It's also a really good opportunity to engage your potential or current employers around offerings that aren't necessarily financially driven. So things such as flexibility options, succession planning, more information on career trajectory and career pathways, training and professional development. Awesome. So across our global data, we've also seen some unsurprising industries where demand is surging. And I just spoke about hospital, healthcare, financial services, and technology and services. We've also noticed a rise in some more unfamiliar sectors. So defense and space, and what we've noticed within this industry is it's becoming a really complex, interconnected ecosystem of cyber, AR, VR, 3D printing, AI, and these technologies are actually revolutionizing the sector, and those who have the skills are actually wanted more than ever. So definitely watch this space from defense. But we've also noticed technology actually revolutionized, the construction sector, and this is an industry that generally would steer away from technology, but ML algorithms can actually monitor construction sites in real time. It can identify potential hazards. It can alert workers in real time if there's an emergency. AI is actually used now in construction design and pre-design. So we're noticing that the construction industry to be a significant growth area in technology. So the big hires in the last 12 months, and I'll talk to the Australian market and JP shortly. But these companies are experiencing particularly strong demand for talent, and I'll just talk to a few of them. So the NDIA is largely focused on improving ability and service through technology, and it's really driving a need for professionals within UX, software development, data analytics. An interesting one as well over in New South Wales is actually the University of New South Wales. They're putting a significant focus on innovation and research, and they're really hiring heavily across the high performance compute space, data science. They're going to embark on some pretty cutting edge projects. So definitely watch this space over at the University of New South Wales, and I'll hand over to JP for some New Zealand commentary.
Thanks, Joe. So in New Zealand, it's no surprise that we're seeing some bank and the utility sector on here. Over the last year, they've been one kind of markets in New Zealand that have been consistently hiring. We've had a lot of compliance and technology and transformation projects happening over the last year. With cloud computing, I suppose, being adopted more and more here in New Zealand, AWS has made a focus of actually hiring a lot of their staff on site here and not remotely, which is quite unique. Thanks, Joe. Next slide. So in demand tech skills. So you kind of see here there's no surprise. AI is obviously the top of everybody's agenda. What we are seeing here in New Zealand, we're not seeing the rise of specific AI jobs. So you're not going to be an AI engineer. It's more interweaved with your current day-to-day role. So a lot of obviously data analysis, data scientists are using AI in their everyday work. But with the rise of the ease of access of Copilot and ChatGPT, we're seeing everybody in an organization being able to use AI to really enhance their work and productivity. And this is kind of where it's mainly being used, especially when financial organizations, are a bit shy of taking the human out of the loop. They haven't fully adopted AI yet. And again, it's no surprise that they are on the bottom, that security pops up as well. Being a digital environment, cybersecurity is top of everyone's agenda. Because when we talk about personal skills, probably the big thing that comes through from hiring managers to us is finding people who have the ability to communicate, influence, especially at leadership level. So with the rapid change of technology and especially AI, the ability to articulate what that means for the business, not just within a technical sense, but also your finance staff or HR, that's really, really important. So if there's any skill that you really want to work on, It's really your communication and influencing ability. And yeah, in demand in the next 12 months, obviously, senior stakeholder management, influencing skills are just huge. If you can get that right, you'll be invaluable in your organization.
Thanks, JP. So this is an overview of the roles that Talent has placed in the past 12 months. Give you a second to take a look, but as you can see, a significant portion of these, 31%, have been within the project, program management, and business analysis space. So it's clear that the demand for project professionals remains strong, even though it has been a challenging market for the last 12 months. Organisations are continuing to adapt, evolve, and prioritise digital transformations.
Oh, thanks, Scarlett. So here in New Zealand, it's quite spread. But as you can see, similar to Australia, project services and especially business analysis kind of have been in most demand. Now, do bear in mind it's from quite a low base here in New Zealand. But as organizations ramp up their technology projects, BAs are going to be most in demand to basically tease out proper requirements.
So this data here is being provided by SEEK and compares the IT job ads that have been posted in the last 12 months to the previous year. In Australia, SEEK has observed a 15% average reduction in IT job postings during this period. So as you can see, roles within network and systems administration and web development have experienced the most significant decline. We think this is likely a result of businesses offshoring some of their tech teams and also the increasing influence of AI.
Thank you. And here in New Zealand, similar story. Remember, we are coming off the back of a COVID hiring boom, and obviously the government here has done a number on the IT market, especially in Wellington. So that's why across the board we're seeing significant reduction in job ads. Interesting, consultants and engineering software is up. Although the government here are shedding staff, they still are bringing in and making use of external consultancies. So that's why we're kind of seeing a rise there.
Fantastic. Thanks, JP. So the top channels on Percipio. If you don't know what Percipio is, it's an immersive online learning platform that's actually exclusively free to our Engage members. If you haven't already given it a go, I highly suggest you do, because the courses are industry recognised and do directly relate to what's in demand for the year. So we've actually performed an analysis on Engage member learning activity on this platform, and it reveals strong areas, particularly in networking, cybersecurity, cloud computing, specifically in Azure, agile methodologies and AI. And further to that, we've actually got data among all of the Percipio users globally, and you can see the top upskill areas within the last 12 months. And I really think that the interesting takeaway from this is actually the focus on well-rounded development. Members aren't just focusing on technical skills, but rather, putting more time and investment in crucial soft skills such as creativity, public speaking, presentation, and also remote presentation. I think that's quite interesting.
Thanks, Joe. So I'm sure that many of you have heard of LinkedIn Learning before. They offer a huge variety of courses and training modules on a number of topics. So our team's actually reviewed the courses that are available and have identified some of the best options that are available for free on the platform. So these courses are a great way not only to refresh some of your lapsed skills, but also pick up new learnings in line with market demands, such as the one you can see there, Introduction to Generative AI.
Thanks, Scarlett. So we're talking about in-demand certs. You can see there's quite a few that have popped up, but I suppose the best advice we could give you is if you really want to obtain a cert, just focus on anything in AI, cloud, or security. That's for the next few years is going to be really where all the focus is.
Thanks, JP. So what does that mean for 2025? What's in store for 2025? What does it mean for where you work and the region that you operate in? So we've actually leveraged some of this information, and I think it's important that you know how it's going to shape your industry and region moving forward. And to kick things off, we've got WA. WA's job market does present exciting opportunities for 2025. To no surprise, it's going to be within the mining and resources and energy sector. But the continued strength of these industries will be further supported by the renewable energy transformation here in Australia. So it's going to create a lot of jobs, particularly within this sector. I will say, though, for those in WA, be prepared for a large demand for contracting compared to perm.
Next, South Australia. So in Adelaide, the market remains healthy and has continued positive momentum from 2024. We're seeing that the roles are pretty steady across both government and the corporate sector, and the defence industry continues to have increased demand. And the current hot skills in Adelaide are project management, business analysis, cyber, developers, and data-related roles. Next up, we have Queensland. So we've definitely started to see more availability of candidates in the last 3 to 6 months in Queensland. Demand is strongest for project services skills such as project and program managers, business analysts, architects, change managers, and analysts. There has been a temporary slowdown of government positions, and this has been offset by a strong demand from the corporate sector, though. There has also been significant investments into the economy leading up to the Olympics, so we can expect to see the market picking up further over the coming years. Next, we have New South Wales. So the market this year in New South Wales has started with much more of a positive hiring sentiment across all of our clients. We're seeing some large-scale IT projects, which we predict will increase the demand for tech staffing, such as a $2 billion Westpac and St. George technology consolidation programs and the $3 billion NBN upgrade. Job families in demand currently are cyber, data, AI, and development.
Thank you, Scarlett. And over to the nation's capital. The ACT's employment landscape is heavily influenced by two key drivers, and that's the Australian Public Service and national security. The APS will continue to be a major source of permanent employment within the region, and that's really going to provide stability to the region's job market. I will say, though, keep an eye on the federal election because it does create a degree of uncertainty and instability. And as you know, potential government changes can impact APS workforce sizes particularly. I will say, though, from a national security perspective, and the ASC, the Australian Signals Directorate, will be a significant employer for 2025 and 2026, I say. The emphasis on cybersecurity from the Australian government will be a really, really big source and demand for tech talent within ACT. And the best state in the world, Victoria. Unfortunately, our market here is in a little bit of a state of transition. It was quite low for the last 12 months, but in saying that, we're anticipating a really, really significant upswing in 2025. And I think the driver of that is specifically going to be within the retail and utility sectors. We've also noticed a very strong push for return to office mandates. It's averaging 3 days a week. Most now are starting to push to 4 to 5 days a week. So I think this will kind of shape your employee experience moving forward. In terms of the in-demand skills and what's probably important for you, where your trajectory is going is, I think if you're across the Salesforce platform, either in a project management, business analysis, or data-related position, I think you're going to be in a very good position moving forward into the Victorian market.
Cool. And as we shift focus to the best country in the world, we'll have a look at Auckland first. We have to turn off the chat after that comment. So here in Auckland, again, quite subdued, to be honest, over the last year. But where we are seeing hiring is within the financial services sector. Banking and insurance have obviously done quite a bit of technology transformation and regulatory work. We are seeing money flowing into the startup sector, which is quite cool. So that should kick off pretty soon. However, competition's high. So we are seeing hundreds of applicants applying for every single job that's been posted. So we do have some tips later on how you can stay ahead of competition. So if we move on down to Wellington. So Wellington, all you have to do is have a look at the news Wellington has done, government has done a number in Wellington, and unfortunately, there's a little bit of that left to go. The utility sector down there is kind of kicked off, but government, with all of the changes that's happening within the government sector, they still have technology problems to solve, and that will come to fruition in the next quarter or two, hopefully.
Perfect. Thanks, JP. So now for some of our top tips on how to navigate the market this year. My first top tip would be leverage your networks. So stay in touch with your past managers and colleagues, and don't be afraid to reach out to them if you're looking for a new role. Also, keep an eye out for any industry events that you can attend. So each talent branch actually hosts multiple open door and meetup events that are a great way to network. My next tip would be evaluate your flexibility. It is important to be aware of the market trends and ensure that you're realistic with your expectations to work from home. I know Joe mentioned this before, so sorry for the bad news, but we are seeing that businesses across the board are continuing to move away from remote work and are pushing employees back into the office. My next tip is practice. It sounds basic, however, we come across so many highly experienced candidates who go into interviews underprepared. Before an interview, make sure you research the company, research recent news, look up the interviewers on LinkedIn, ask your recruiter if they have any tips, and practice and develop a solid pitch for yourself and clear examples of your relevant experience that will help you put your best foot forward and impress in an interview.
Awesome, Scarlett. And I'll just quickly touch on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is actually very, very important, and it will be more important moving forward. There are actually 15 million users of LinkedIn in Australia. It's more than half the population. So I think it's important that you do create a strong LinkedIn profile, and often your LinkedIn profile is reviewed either before or alongside your CV. So a lot of those soft skills that we were talking about alongside your technical skills, I think it's great to have a professional, polished and informative LinkedIn profile to go alongside your CV. And I think, be involved in things that are related to your technical expertise or the industry sector that you work in. Leverage those LinkedIn algorithms to be prevalent and, relevant on the platform.
Perfect. My next tip is know the market when speaking about rates. So it is really important to be aware of what market rates and salaries are currently being offered in the market. It is a balancing act. So you want to ensure that you don't undersell yourself, but it's also important that you don't price yourself out in a very competitive market. Next tip, stay consistent. So at the moment, we're seeing hundreds of applications come through within the first 24 hours, as JP mentioned, and this is across all job families. So it's really important when looking for a new role that you check job boards consistently and get in early when applying to positions online. We would probably say that unless the client asks for a cover letter, our recommendation would be to use that time to amend your CV in line with the specific job requirements. Next tip, develop in-demand skills. So particularly in technology, this is important. Make sure you stay ahead of the curve and keep your skills fresh. Pursue online courses, certifications, and industry accreditations like the ones JP mentioned earlier.
Awesome. And leverage a recruiter. And what that means is that be our friend. We want to be your friend as well. And what I mean by that, on a serious note, is we engage with so many clients and customers across so many industry verticals across both Australia and New Zealand. Often we have opportunities that you don't see advertised. And it is our job to speak every day with both our customers and clients and candidates out there. So really leverage on our expertise, and it might not be around active opportunities or active upcoming roles, but ways to better improve your profile, ways of engagement, trends. Really use our expertise because it's our job to do so. Anything from you, JP, over in NZ?
Yeah, thanks, Joe. I was just thinking, since most people on this webinar are contractors, a bit of a tip for you in terms of your CV is make sure you're keeping your CV really specific and really relevant, and take out the fluff. You need to focus on what you have achieved. It really, really helps when we're looking through hundreds of CVs. It'll help us find you quicker, right? And to give you a bit more help, we've just launched our Word of Money salary guide for 2025. So this focuses on every region that we have a talent office. We can give you some insights in the local market, local salaries, and also local contract rates. We'll put a link in the chat below, but just pop on our website and it's there for you as well.
Awesome. Thanks, JP. Yeah, Q&A time. We'd love to open up the floor to everyone who's tuned in. And if you have any questions, please pop it through the chat. We'd love to answer anything that you want to throw our way.
There's already been a question in there around if we think that for niche hiring, there'll still be a need for remote work. And as I think someone's already responded to them, but so everyone else can hear, we definitely still think that for niche skill sets, remote hiring will still exist. We're saying there's a pushback to the office, but that's obviously not for all roles. There's still, if the role is niche, then they'll have to open up to be able to find the right resources.
That's great. On that kind of work from home policy, New Zealand's been a really interesting mix. It's still a topic of conversation. For some reason, I thought it would be sorted by now, but we are literally seeing mandates from 1 day a week all the way up to 5, which is quite interesting. But the most common over here in New Zealand is 3. Government in Wellington are trying to get people back to the office, I think up to about 4 or 5 days a week, really. So there's a real mixed bag going on over here.
Awesome. And I've just noticed a question here around the uptick in APS roles and what that means for clearances. Yes, it does help. The time it takes to get baseline or NV1 clearance, can range from anywhere to 3, 9, even 12 months. Generally, when you do get a role within federal government that requires clearance, they will commence that clearance process on your behalf and obviously sponsor your clearance. And that takes a considerable amount of time and money for your client. But yes, definitely, if you're able to get clearance moving into or before a role, it just shortens that time for your potential employer to sponsor and pay for your clearance. The catch-22 to that, though, is that you can only get clearance unless you are sponsored by a federal government employer. So please keep that in mind.
I've just seen a question there about what do you do when you start a LinkedIn profile. I've been on LinkedIn since it started. Look, to be honest, it can be a bit of a minefield. The easiest thing I would kind of say to you is do a bit of a search on LinkedIn for people within your field and see how they are positioning themselves and see if there's a bit of a common theme. But it's a work website, not a dating website. So you kind of need to keep it quite relevant to your skill set. Put in your title. You can literally copy kind of aspects of your CV onto the profile itself. Some people actually download LinkedIn as their CV. So just keep it really business orientated. Put a nice picture on there, and then like a good headline. And then once you have that there, then just look at all of the relevant groups that you would be like to be part of within your industry, within your city, and just join them. Just be part of that conversation. You don't have to be posting every day. I mean, we do it. It's part of our job. But as a job seeker, it's really important to just get involved in your community. Try find meetups. But just keep your profile simple, to the point at the start, and then you'll be able to build it out from there.
Definitely agree. And I'll just add to that as well that I don't know if everyone knows this, but you can actually upload your CV onto your LinkedIn profile and make it only accessible for recruiters to see. So that's a really good thing to do, because when recruiters are searching for people for roles, then you've got enough information in there that when they're searching, you're coming up. And also, just as what we mentioned before, is the open to work. So you can turn on your open to work and you don't have to have the banner. You feel free to do it, but if you don't want everyone to know, you can turn it on in the background so that only recruiters can see it and no one at your workplace will be able to see it. And that lets recruiters know that you're happy to hear about roles. So that's definitely a good thing to do. And don't worry, your current workplace won't see it unless you add the banner to your photo. So that's definitely a good thing. And the professional photos for your LinkedIn profile sounds basic, but we see some terrible ones. So please make sure you really focus on having a really good professional LinkedIn photo.
That's an awesome tip, Scarlett. And I was just having look at a comment here from Diana around if you're thinking to move states, could your recruiter in Perth communicate with their partners in other states to help with the job search? Absolutely, we want to keep you in our talent family. So no matter where you go, we want to be chatting with you and helping you.
And Wes from our Melbourne office has actually just put in another good point around recommendations. If you're wanting to build out your LinkedIn profile, there's a section at the bottom for recommendations. You can ask previous managers and people to write recommendations about working with you. And it means that you've just got those on file and you can use them as a reference point when you're applying to new roles to sort of stand out as well. That's a really good point, Wes.
Fantastic. Mitali, there's nothing bad in the green banner. I think the green banner on LinkedIn is there for a reason, and it is to let people know that you are open to work. Absolutely not. We don't see it as a bad thing. Our clients don't see it as a bad thing. I think it actually encourages people to reach out to you because you're letting us know that you're open to work.
It also lets your network know as well that you're open to work, so people can sort of think of you. But I guess the only thing bad is if you don't want your current workplace to find out. That's the only bad thing. So, but otherwise, no, it's not seen in a bad way at all.
Yeah, I think the whole connotation about, being made redundant or being unemployed for a little while, I think that's gone now. The market has been so weird, especially here in New Zealand, for the last 18 odd months. And most people have experienced some sort of unemployment. So don't be shy, put the banner on, reach out to your network, talk to anybody who will listen, and just build your network and you're trying to find yourself work at the end of the day.
Exactly right. And shift the focus away from how long you've been out of work and really talk about the skills and capability that you can bring to a potential employer. And that's something that we want to chat with candidates around, where, someone that might have experienced some time away from work is. So what are those key skills that are relevant to the particular opportunity that you're looking for?
100%. And good note here from Talent to everyone. So as an Engage member, you have access to new job opportunities within Engage, and it makes it really easy to apply. And on our end, it comes through that you're a contractor, so you will have priority treatment by the team. It's a really good new feature. So make sure you check that out as well.
Awesome. Are there any other questions or comments?
I think we might have missed a question up here. I saw Kate around any other business analysts. What AI courses have you found most useful?
Hey, I suppose I'll answer this kind of, we're all going through the journey. There actually isn't one specific course that will give you all the answers. It's moving too quickly. Get on any platform you can, get on YouTube, get on LinkedIn, and just start learning. And just start talking to colleagues and just start talking to anybody who's using it within your field. You'll find something new. It's just changing too quickly, and you can't rely on one particular cert, unfortunately.
Any other questions, anyone? Yeah, you go, Joe.
You can go.
No, you go.
All right. As professionals move between NZ and AU, how can Talent help candidates that move? Absolutely. We do this regularly, and I engage with people like JP and the team from our Wellington and Auckland offices to discuss candidates that are open to move. Chat with them before they're actually ready to move to kind of tee up opportunities, but also to establish that relationship. So I think if you're an NZ, chat with your NZ talent contact around where you want to move, and they can connect you with the right person from the Australian team.
Definitely.
Yeah, we've done this quite a bit over the last year, unfortunately, as Kiwis move over to Australia. Not sure why you'd want to, but anyway, you do. And so yeah, we 100% put you in touch with whoever is relevant in that office or that area you want to go to. We 100% can do that.
100%. And just in case anyone doesn't know, the locations that we went through before giving the market insights on, that's all locations where Talent has an office. So we support all across Australia and New Zealand and the US as well. So can support across all those regions.
Fantastic.
That might be us, is it? No more questions?
Any other questions?
Just the last minute. We really want to.
Yeah.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Look, if you do have any other questions that you think of later or you want to take offline, feel free just to reach out to JP, Joel, or myself directly, and we'd be happy to help you as well.
Oh, there's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Can I just qualify that question, Peter? Do you mean, yeah, like, are you outside of Australia or New Zealand trying to apply into there, or you're obviously either in Australia or New Zealand applying overseas?
Yeah, it depends on the location, doesn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It's not difficult to apply, but it's difficult to get through the process for New Zealand. Kiwis definitely like to see people face to face. Hiring people from overseas is definitely on the rise over here. But it is, yeah, it's you have to put in a bit of effort, that's for sure, in order to get yourself above local applicants.
That's right. And further to that, when you apply internationally, you're competing effectively against the market which you're applying into. So as you would here, contact a recruiter or create networking opportunities here, you would aim to do the same to wherever you're looking to head as well.
Perfect. Just a question here about ex-Engage members. Will you be able to access Talent's job portal? And yes, you still can. If you are no longer a contractor with Talent, you can still access the roles through the portal. You just need to log in.
Fantastic. Healthcare jobs. Yeah, funding in Victoria for healthcare, specifically within clinical. Yes, there's been funding cuts, but behind the scenes, especially in technology, there is significant investment, Vitaly. So I hope that helps.
Other questions?
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, we hope this was useful, everyone.
Nice one. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this, if I'm being honest.
Me too. Yeah, it was good.
Me too.
Yeah, hopefully it was helpful for everyone on the webinar.
Yeah, and if there's any questions you've missed, just reach out to us directly and we'd be happy